higher rank. With pen pound and with pen franc. Janaba new dance and a Jamaica and Frank. Yeah, on the river, on the bank. Kick out the shoes because you put them your camp. Stay in the river, on the bank. Janaba new dance and a Jamaica and Frank. Yeah, down the flank, we are go down the flank. Like a baller, we go down the flank. You're cheap, pretty young, get in your tank. But them new dance, you know where people can't pull. Give them a run, give them a run. Give them a run, we and the girls that have come cool. Give them a run, give them a run. Give them a run, we and the girls that have come cool. I've been loved that before, yeah, but I've never seen a dance like this. I've been loved that before, yeah, but I don't wanna come top the list. Alright.
Yo, oh shit, I forgot to take that off. What is going on, people? What is up? Bigger Ford Entertainment in the house. I got my man K-Dot here. Y'all can hear me, right? Okay, just give me a second because I can't hear anything. What up, K-Dot?
K-Dot?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, hold on. I can't hear shit right now.
Go ahead, speak.
Mic check, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Interesting. Why can't I hear anything? Oh, I know why.
That's better. Okay, there. I got you now. What up, K-Dot? What's going on, brother?
What's good with you?
Doing good. What up, Dewan? He said, from what I hear, Major sounded innocent. Yeah, we're going to get into all of that. I got the article up there ready to go. But first, K-Dot, I want you to shout out your channel. Let the people know where they can find you, brother.
You guys can find me at SJ K-Dot Sanctum. Get movie reviews, anime reviews, all types of things. Have been slow with some content as of recent, but we'll be getting back to it soon enough.
Absolutely. And as you guys can see, we are talking about the Jonathan Major stuff that happened. The case was today. Well, the trial, I guess the pre-trial was today. And, yes, you know, there was some things that came out. I know K-Dot didn't read the article. I'll bring up the article, but I just want to get your thoughts real quick on what do you think's going on?
So this is just what I'm going to assume. I don't know if this is the case, but I feel like they pushed this back because they did not have the sufficient evidence they needed to try and convict Jonathan of anything. I seen some articles, headlines saying, you know, if he does get convicted, he'll be facing like a year in prison. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not too bad, but that's long enough to have your career, you know, tarnished and in the mud.
Absolutely. I honestly believe that his career is probably going to be tarnished a bit, whether he gets off or not, because, you know, there's going to be people out there who's absolutely going to believe it, even if he gets off. You know what I mean?
Right.
All right. So here's the article that I have here up. Let me just get it here so I can read it properly for you guys. So it says here, Jonathan Majors facing witch hunt. Lawyer says of domestic violence case. Actor appeared virtually in court today, back next month. So if those of you that don't know, is that he will have to go back to court again next month. I was actually hoping that, you know, they would give evidence on each side and, you know, maybe Jonathan's evidence would outweigh what the prosecution has and they would dismiss the case. But they still haven't actually set up a trial, right? So the article says Jonathan Majors could be imprisoned for up to a year if found guilty of charges unveiled this morning in his domestic violence case. At the same time, the actor's attorney today slammed proceedings as a byproduct of the racial bias that permeates in the criminal justice system. So the first thing I wanted to say is, I know it says here that he could face up to 1 year, but he probably won't face no jail time. If anything, he'll probably just get, you know, probation or something like that. But if he does get convicted, you better believe that his career is over 100%. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's going to really mess with him. So as of Tuesday, Swift status conference at the Manhattan Criminal Court building comes 6 weeks after the magazine Dream star was arrested by the NYPD for domestic violence. Appearing virtually for the hearing for Creed 3, actors, the Creed 3 actors saw the Manhattan District Attorney's Office make public superseding complaints with a charge of third-degree assault. A Class A misdemeanor has a maximum possible sentence of 12 months behind bars or a 3-year probation term. So I think he'll probably get the 3-year probation term if he's found guilty. I don't think he's going to spend time
Yeah,
in jail.
he's more likely gonna um get the probation because, like I say, if the woman that accused him does not actually follow through with, because they're hoping she already recanted her statement. They're hoping she's gonna be on their side, right? And she can totally recant her statement. But she knows if she doesn't go up there and be honest, she's gonna be in trouble too. So there could be a case where, and sometimes people do this. I'm not sure if you've seen a show. It was a prequel to The Wire.
Mm-hmm.
That show that's a prequel to The Wire.
I never seen it.
It's an episode that's dealing with basically there's a domestic abuse situation, and both of them was crackheads, right? So the girl got mad because her crackhead boyfriend didn't want to do drugs with her, so she went to the police and lied about him hitting her, right? Now she knows he didn't hit him, but she just trying to be petty and try to get him locked up. When she had to go see her little attorney and stuff, she was trying to basically say, yeah, he hit me, but not be specific about it. She was trying not to take it anywhere, but but the attorney told her, if you don't, if you made a false report, if you do not be honest about this, you can end up going to jail too. So that's another thing that she's going to be dealing with. But
you see,
if she does recant even her statement when she gets up there on the stage, this can help Jonathan in his case.
Absolutely. And I've always been, like I say, when it comes to these accusations against the men, I find the women, when they get found, like, the men are innocent, like as per se Johnny Depp, I don't think the women should get charged, you know what I mean, for making false accusations. Like, I think if you're going to take away a man's career and then it comes to end up finding out that the man was correct, then that woman that made those charges or made the case should actually be charged. So I hope that's something that starts to happen, because these women that are making these false claims are actually getting away with it. They're getting away with it. You know what I mean? Now, if it comes out that the case that her claims aren't false, then I'll say 100%. But if it's false, then I absolutely think she should be charged just as much. You know what I'm saying?
Well, because you remember the John and Amber situation, that was a defamation suit, and really, it's not to say that everything Amber said was there's a lot of stuff she lied about, but she did make some allegations about stuff that we come to find out wasn't fully true. And and most all she has to do is just pay Johnny his little pay him that money for the defamation suit. But I think in general, because I saw somebody bring this up on Twitter and talk about this false accusations, saying they made it clear women who make false allegations by anybody deserves to go to jail. Me in general, I think anybody who makes any false allegation. Now, there's levels to these false allegations. Like I can go up to Anzo and say, Anzo, Anzo is a DC shill. That's me making an allegation that he's a DC shill. It's harmless. It's nothing.
Right.
If I walk up to Anzo and I walk up to somebody and I say, Nzo Hodges murdered 10 people yesterday, right? And people just randomly believe me, and I decide to take the court and all that. I should be held accountable for that, because that's at that point you're going to get into defamation, because like you said, regardless of anything, even if Jonathan is innocent, people who think he's guilty will still think he's guilty, and people who think he's innocent is still going to run with him being innocent, regardless of anything.
Absolutely.
But the fact that you're in that situation where you might win this. You are not guilty of your crime, but people are still going to think you're guilty even after the situation.
100%. And we'll get into some of the Twitter comments as well too, because when I posted it, I went in, I started reading some of the Twitter comments, and man, people just have him guilty like right away. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like they're not listening or care about any information. It's just like what I'm seeing is that, oh, you know, he did this, he's guilty, and they don't really care. So we'll get into
And,
all of that too. Yeah, go
the
ahead.
crazy thing is, like, none of us really seen any, aside from the girl being at the club, like, none of us have really seen any strong evidence on both ends. I mean, we saw more evidence coming from Jonathan's side
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
than anyone else, but even then, like, there's not enough evidence for me to say this happened or that happened. Like, not say that she didn't get any bruises and stuff, but usually, sometimes they release stuff like that just to just for the public to see, like, yeah, he's definitely guilty. Just to get the public against the individual. But I haven't really seen nothing on their end, the accusers end, to say like he did this, he did that. Because that taxi footage, that footage is
Mm-hmm.
about to reveal a whole lot. It's going to tell
Facts.
the whole story.
Facts.
You won't even need the taxi driver's really his point of view on anything. Because once you get into that taxi, whenever they got into the taxi from the start, they can watch that whole video. They don't even need the taxi driver to get up there and speak. He can, he does to corroborate stuff. But that video is the real evidence. That's the hard evidence
I
that
agree with you.
no one cannot escape video evidence.
I agree with you 100%. And when I was reading some of the article, it's I think the reason why they haven't brought out the video or put it public yet is because they don't want the woman to be able to, have a story. So the article continues where it says, barely visible to the gallery on screen, facing away from the seats, Majors did not enter a plea to the new charge. In fact, dressed in a beige shirt and amongst a pale off-white background on screen, Majors had little to say Tuesday beyond yes, ma'am, to Judge Rachel S. Pauley. The next hearing in the matter has been set for June 13. The judge told Majors he has to appear in person for that. I'm required to inform you that, as you know, if you fail to appear in court on June 13th, a warrant can be issued for your arrest within 48 hours. And if you're brought back on the warrant, the next judge can revoke and even set bail. I obviously don't want that to happen. Now, this article has a lot more than when I first read it, so bear with us, guys, because we're getting into the reasons why I think they actually postponed it to the 13th. So, additionally, Judge Pauley reminded the conference in Majors that he must abide by the order of protection barring him from any contact with the woman in question. Outside of court today, Major's lawyer Priva Chaudhry was blistering in her assessment of the DA's case. We
Now,
have yeah, go ahead.
real quick,
Yeah.
I do want to mention this.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan really needs to, he cannot, as I said, there's a order of protection that he can't interact with that woman.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he feels out of guilt, if he wants to apologize for anything, or like go or try to say, like, I apologize for whatever happened, blah blah blah, for the situation. Because I remember XXX and Tentacion, when he had his case, right? He
Mm-hmm.
was getting in contact with the woman that was accusing him of stuff, right? And mind you, let's take that to court. That's
Yeah.
going to be a weird look.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a weird look in general. Now, in some case, it might be all like, well, I mean, they're all cool and chilling and stuff. So what really happened? But then it's like, this woman supposedly, did all these allegations against you. Why are you interacting with her, blah, 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 all that. So just for Jonathan's case, hopefully he doesn't try to get in contact. Just steer clear of this woman. Go through the order of protection. I think he will. There's more women in the sea for him to mess with, but he really needs to
Mm-hmm.
not get in contact with this woman at all. Even if there's guilt, Even if you feel guilty, don't do it because it will not look good for him at all. It won't look good for him.
I agree with you 100%. And I think his lawyers are smart enough to let him know, like, listen, even if she contacts you, right? Because she could be trying to set him up, contact him and say, hey, I didn't
Right.
do this, blah, 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 blah. And then the minute he responds, anything he says can be used against him in a court of law. So that's why I think when they brought out those text messages, you can see he only asked one question, like, were the keys, did you drop the keys? And then she kept going, and then you see no other response from him. Because again, I know a lot of people say those text messages seem kind of suspect, right? If that's the case, then it could be because they're trying to incriminate him and get him to say something on text that, maybe he might not have said. So it's
Right.
smart for him not to even respond, because that's one of the first things they tell you is do not have any contact with the so-called victim. Like, do not contact her, do not answer her if she texts you or anything. So I think that's a smart choice.
And they can also get him on intimidation. Like they might look at it as, oh, he's trying to intimidate the witness, the victim of the situation, which, makes it even worse for him.
Absolutely.
But so far, it seems like he's been keeping, no contact or little contact as possible. I mean, good on him. He's got to go through this one more month. But
it's just messed up, right? Because I feel like, and when we get into more of the details, I feel like it's just like the prosecution has nothing and they're trying to extend it so that they can find other things, right? Because his DA, his lawyer says, we have provided the district attorney with irrefutable evidence that the woman is lying, including video proof showing nothing happened, especially not where she claimed, the lawyer said. We did this with the explicit promise from the DA that they would not fix their case and change it as we proved the woman is lying. This is a witch hunt against Jonathan Majors, driven by baseless claims, Chaudhry went on to say, citing a glaring double standard in a statement to Deadline. Instead of dismissing the allegations in the face of the woman's clear lies, the DA has adjusted the charges to match the woman's new lies. To be clear, there are no new charges against Majors. So here's one of the things that I wanted to say, right? Because she said that they gave information with an explicit promise from the DA that they would not fix their case and change it. But then here, when we go to trial, it says the DA has adjusted the charges to match the woman's lies. So that's why I think they're very careful about putting out that video. Now, to be honest with you, I mean, when it comes to cases and law courts, the prosecution has to have the same evidence that the DA has, right? They both have to be able to, you can't just surprise it on court and be like, hey, we have this. But I think
it's not like that shit in the movies. Because these people are paid and they went to school to look at this piece of evidence like the video and determine if this is a situation of self-defense, was this assault? Like they literally analyze this stuff. And mind you, both these sides took two different things from that video. None of us have seen the video, so I don't know what to really say on it. But whatever the DA tried to insinuate with that video is not what it is, because they pushed it back to June. I swear, I don't think they don't got nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying Jonathan's innocent, but I feel like they don't have nothing. This doesn't seem right.
I agree with you 100%, especially when you find out that they're kind of changing it, when they said they wouldn't have, and you got all this information that supposedly come out. Now, I'm pretty sure we haven't seen all of the information that they actually gave, right? But at the same time, I think the judge should be able to, say, okay, well, this is the reason why, and this is that, and I see this, and okay, we're going to go on with it or we're going to drop it. But basically what happens is, and I'd have to find an article, but we'll read it. But just to give you a little paraphrasing is, I think Jonathan Major's lawyers said they want the case dismissed, showed the evidence, and now the DA, because somewhere in the article it says that the DA has until the 25th or the 21st to counteract that, and then Jonathan Major's lawyers has until the 30th to counteract that.
with the
So
evidence.
yeah, right. So the only thing that I can think of is the fact that they're trying to get the case dismissed, but the district attorney is like, well, we gotta check out this information and we gotta do this, so they're extending it. So if they don't come up with anything probably major by the 25th, then we may get a dismissal then, right? It may not even go till June the 13th, but we'll have to wait and see, right? So
I
yeah.
think personally, I'm not saying just because people do recant statements that means they are actually recanting. Sometimes it can be they are intimidated. We have seen, we have seen, with like the mob and stuff, and people in high places getting people to recant stuff out of fear. But sometimes when you recant, I'm just going to assume like, it's like I'm a ride for you if you sticking to your guns, but you're not sticking to your guns. So like, what can I really stand on with you if you're not going to, stand on business about it?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, out of fear, she could be doing this, but she recanted her statement. It's like I'm not finna jump on her bandwagon and back her up just because it's like that you're being wishy-washy. You're
Yeah.
flip-flopping that point. Like I can't. She could end up being correct about the situation, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like, dang, why'd you just back down from your previous statement that you had?
Absolutely. So it says here without providing any details, she added. Now, we have obtained even more video evidence of his innocence, but we are
Wow.
hesitant to share it for fear the DA will tip the woman off and change her story again. The criminal justice system is saturated with explicit and impeccable bias. When Mr. Major showed a white police officer the injuries the woman caused, the white officer got in Mr. Major's face and taunted him, saying that if the officer were to slap Mr. Majors, the officer wouldn't break his finger. None of the white officers present investigated the assault of Mr. Majors. Worse, the district attorney has not indicated any intention to pursue charges against the woman or even investigate the truth. So, as I said, this article has been updated since I read it this morning because I didn't even have any idea that actually Jonathan Majors had bruises on him, right? And that they didn't investigate that. So, there could be a lot more to this case that we really don't know yet, It's crazy. So also it says in the time between his arrest on March 25th and today, Major's previously high-flying career trajectory has been in a tailspin. While still on board for the complete season 2 of Marvel's Loki and upcoming Avengers movie so far, the actor has been dropped by managers 360 Entertainment and PR team, the Lady Company, as Deadline exclusively reported. Yeah, of course they had to put it that they were the ones to exclusively report that, right? Whatever. Majors has lost at least one movie role, as well at least 2 ad campaigns. Still represented by WME, the actor has faced rumors of other incidents and inappropriate behavior, but no one nor any concrete evidence has emerged on that front. So if you remember, Chillmonger did a video where he talked about the allegations, right? The multiple victims that are supposedly come out. Now we're getting to hear that there's no concrete evidence on it. What's your thoughts on that, K-Dot?
Uh, at this point, they don't have nothing strong in their favor to push back. because for one, the woman backing down from what she's saying. His DA, from whatever they saw in the video, they don't even know whatever they are accusing him of is clearly not there, because if they knew 100% that he did what he did, they would have dealt with this state. They didn't. They pushed it back. And also, where you mentioned earlier, you talked about the officers. I because I noticed nobody talked about that. What bruises and stuff he sustained from the situation. That's why I hope they got the body cam footage of those officers too, which more than likely they do, to even flesh out more of the story, because they said they got more video of stuff. Now it might be prior to the situation, which adds on to the taxi video, and then the aftermath with the police officers and what their interactions was with him. So, like I said, if Jonathan's innocent in this situation, I would say he need to ride this all the way out and sue the city of New York.
Absolutely.
If those officers decided to try and take advantage of the situation, and even Chill mentioned in his video, it seemed when that officer that was, coach, it seemed like the officer was coaching that woman to say certain stuff, which I wouldn't be shocked, because they had to give her a paper to break down what strangulation is. Strangulation is when you choke somebody, you choke them and close off their circulation to breathe and everything. So I mean, everyone knows what strangulation is, right? And if she, not saying she's not intelligent enough, but if you need a piece of paper to tell you if someone choked you out or not, I mean, I'm just saying.
And like you said too, right? If they have the body cam footage on, like Chill said, supposedly one of the officer was coaxing her, like he choked you, right? He choked you, right? And if they have that evidence, I hope all of that comes out. You know what I mean? And that's what I thought was going to happen today, that his lawyers would have shown all that information, which she probably did. And the district attorney was like, okay, well, we need to counteract this, judge. So can you give us a certain time? Now they're going to have to try and build up something to counteract all the information that has come out on his count. David Quintana asked, do you think the damage is done, guilty or not? I don't think it's something that he can't come back from if he's not guilty, right? And I say that because so far, Marvel, which I think is like, we talk about all the projects he lost. If he's not guilty, he'll get new projects, right? Marvel is the big one. That phase 5 was centered around him. So if he loses that, then yeah, I think he's done. But as long as Marvel hasn't actually come out and said that they're going to fire him yet, I think that's a good sign.
He's good, because if he still got an alliance with Marvel, that means he can, he could potentially appear in something like Star Wars, because most people that work at Disney or any of these companies, they hop around in different divisions of the company. Like he might do an animated Disney movie, might voice something. So if he's safe with Disney, I mean, he's cool. Or he could have been silently fired and we don't know about it yet. And they might wait until after the case to say if he been let go or not.
Absolutely.
So because here's the situation too. He could have been silently fired and Kevin Feige's keeping it under wraps and like, we don't need to start to cause an uproar just yet.
Absolutely. Because if they did do that, if they did silently fire him, or if they came out and said it, then it's like, okay, now maybe Marvel knows something that everybody else don't know, and people are going to assume his guilt, right? So that could be a possibility too. Or it could be, listen, we got stakes in phase 5. We want to make sure that this guy is absolutely guilty. We don't want to do the same thing we did to James Gunn, right? Because they fired James Gunn and then ended up having to hire him back, right? We already seen what happened with the Johnny Depp stuff, where he lost the Fantastic Beasts and lost all kinds of projects, and then ended up finding out that, like, he wasn't guilty. So I think Marvel may be taking a, you know what, let's just wait and see what happens before they fire him, which is what I hope they do, because like Michael said, innocent until proven guilty. You know what I mean? And I think that a lot of the public opinion is what drives a lot of these companies to fire these people right away before even finding out anything what happens. It's like, oh, this is what's going on. Okay, you know what? It may be true, it may be not, but let's distance ourselves from it, and they fire right away.
Right,
So
because
if
they just don't want to be in the middle of it. Because then you got,
mhm,
because they got their own little shareholders and stuff that invest in them, and if one of them were to say, "Hey, Disney, why you guys still hiring this dude that murdered somebody?" It's like,
right,
that's our money. Got to drop him,
mhm,
even if it's
absolutely.
not true yet. If this person killed someone or not, they will do so because they don't want to be in the middle of it because they
Mhm.
have people that they have to appease and appeal to.
Right. And then it looks bad too, where it's like, oh, if the guy's found guilty, well, you waited so long and he's been guilty. You know what I mean? And there's going to
Right.
people out there who think he's guilty from the beginning. They're going to be like, see, I told you he was guilty and you guys waited so long. I'm not giving you my money no more. So I think a lot of these companies try to distance themselves. But I also think that if Marvel is still holding on to him, I think they're doing the right thing right now. I think they're
Yeah,
doing
they're
the
just
right thing.
waiting it out, which everyone should. I'm waiting it out too. Like I said, I still stand on the statement. I hope what he's being accused of is not true. Isn't me saying he's innocent or guilty. I just hope none of it is true. That's all. I just hope the
I'm
situation is not what it is being made out to be.
I'm right there with you because I don't want to see someone else play Kang, but I also don't think the evidence on her side is strong enough for me to just say, yeah, he's guilty. You know what I mean? I don't think it's strong enough. Now, we got a video popped up like a couple months ago where it showed him choking her out. You know what I mean? Then
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, he's guilty. Get rid of him, recast, do what you got to do. I would completely understand that. But
And
since,
see
like you said,
if they both have like you know, white people compared to black people, bruises on us is different compared to white people. It,
right.
this
Mm-hmm.
different skin tone. But if they have like bruises that's like kind of balanced out and there's there's a equivalence of it, at that point they have to go off of who hit first
Mm-hmm.
to really drive home uh their side. Now, not saying there wasn't nothing that physically happened, but they may be overhyping it to be something that it isn't. Because Jonathan could have probably she could have lunged at him trying to get the
Mm-hmm.
phone. He probably could have just
Mm-hmm.
pushed her, right? Probably
Mm-hmm.
pushed her with a lot of force and she probably hit the door or something.
Mm-hmm.
But if this is a case where he's straight up like, Ike and Tina, okay, I can see their
Right.
point. If it's an Ike and Tina situation,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I see their point.
Absolutely. And I'll say this, a lot of people bruise easily, right? So you could just like push someone and have a handprint and boom, it bruises you. So that
Right.
could be a situation as well. So until we get to see that taxi cab footage, we still need to, be pretty much cautious with the things that are going on. But Tony said if he's proven innocent, all the people that falsely accused him should get on their knees and kiss his sack. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, her side has time to counter. Absolutely. Innocent until proven guilty. He said, yo, what's up? I can't imagine the back. I don't know what that meant. Jonathan should open up a porthole to escape back into the multiverse. Oh, the backlash if they did. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Is Jonathan Majors going to prison? What do you think? So we talked about that earlier where I said even if he's guilty, I don't think he'll go to prison. He'll probably get the 3 years
The 3 years
probation.
probation.
Right. But just know that he probably won't be in any other movies if he's found guilty. Like Marvel will recast right away. Perp said, NY police hella corrupt. 100%. What do you think about the high evolutionary recast as Kang as a variant? I've seen that floating around.
Nah.
I'm not down with it. I'm not down with it. I think if you're going to recast him, just get someone completely different, right? You don't have to go and make up this whole excuse of how, the high evolutionary is a variant of Kang. I think you just
Yeah,
recast him.
yeah. Just find another black actor
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's gonna be weird because they're mine just a multiverse, but to recast him with high evolutionary, then everybody's gonna be like, "Is high evolutionary a king?" It's just gonna add more questions that isn't needed. So
Mm-hmm.
just get another black actor. There's plenty out there.
Right.
Not saying
And
they
to
should recast right now. We don't know nothing yet, but if we do get to one, we have to grab another black actor. It does not need to be the higher evolutionary dude. So I think that dude might be
100%.
going over with James Gunn to DC anyways. They killed his character, so
Mm-hmm.
what you
And
do?
that's the thing, right? They in Iron Man 1, it was Terrence Howard. Iron Man 2 was Don Cheadle, and they
Yep.
recasted them without like even like, hey, it says a little comment, it's me now, get over it or whatever. Understand they could do that smoothly, just recast him and don't even mention it, and all of a sudden you have someone else playing Kang. You know what I mean?
Right.
That other Kang was a variant or whatever, if you want to actually say something, but you don't, because Marvel has done it already like that. So if Marvel do fire Jonathan Majors, they should not continue with the character Kang. um you see, I think K Dot, I think you agreed with that too at one point, if I'm not mistaken. It was you or
Yep.
somebody else that said they shouldn't go on with Kang character. Was it you?
No, I say continue with Kang, but when you get to Secret Wars, make it a twist. How it wasn't really Kang running the show. Doctor Doom was twisting things behind the scenes.
I got
The
you.
Doctor Doom is part of Secret Wars. He leads the whole Battle World situation. Uh, throw him up in there. Make it Doctor Doom ends up being the actual bad guy, and that because what I think was going to happen anyways. I think one of the kings is going to work with our heroes to defeat the other kings.
I agree.
I can see that happening, so they might as well, try and do something like that. If this king thing does not really pop off, I mean, we seen Quantum Mania, it wasn't really uh engaged. People was really getting engaged with it. They can do that to flip the script because you can bank on Doctor Doom. Kang's new character, but Doctor Doom is someone you can bank on for the
Right.
audience.
And I'll say I still think they move on with the Kang. I think they have way too much invested in that Kang character for the next phase to just kind of like, do something else. So
Drop,
you
yeah,
continue. Yeah, you continue with that. You just get another actor to pay it. People will understand, right? We're not dumb. Even the normies are not dumb. I'm sure there's some normies out there that understand what's going on and will understand that they had no choice but to recast him with someone else, and you can still continue with what you're doing. And us Kang fans will still have the Ant-Man and the Loki series that he was in, and maybe if they do too, because I don't think they'll reshoot Loki season 2. You know what I mean? So they'll just put that out,
yeah,
and you'll
yeah.
still
They're
get that.
they're going to keep his scenes in there because they're pretty much halfway done. Just release it, and then after that, he'll be recasted if they do decide
Absolutely.
to do so.
Who would you recast as Kang? What actor? I have no idea, to be honest with you. I have no idea. I usually have faith, and I'm not the type of guy that's like, oh, we should cast this character as that. I don't do that, right? But I also have faith that Marvel will at least do the right casting if they have to recast. Jonathan Major was born to play Kang, absolutely. They picked Jonathan Majors for a reason for Kang because his range as an actor. Yeah, I agree. But there's a lot of actors out there that have range as well. So I think they can make a smooth transition if they have to. I honestly don't think the general audience who know Kang is even. I didn't see all of Loki. Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, right? But what I'm saying is the general audience will at least understand the situation and understand why they had to recast. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Without them having to make some big kind of announcement or anything like that. Um, Monique as Kang. Yeah, I don't think so. So back to the article here. It says, while still on board for, okay, I read that part. What is on the public record is a complaint from the DA's office on Majors on March 25th, striking the woman about the face with an open hand, causing substantial pain and a laceration behind her ear. So we heard about choking, right?
Right.
Now it's a laceration behind the ear. This is my first time hearing about that, to be honest with you. What about you?
That's my first time hearing about this ear thing too. Because first it was just the strangulation.
Right, it was the broken
She
finger.
suffered bruises to her neck, messed up finger.
Yes, yes, yes. That's what I heard, right? But again, because they didn't go to trial, I mean, you have to take a lot of the information that came out with a grain of salt if you want to play devil's advocate. But at the same time, how is it now we're not hearing about strangulation, but we're hearing about a laceration behind the ear?
Yep.
And it goes to what Perp said, the NYPD, they're corrupt as fuck. I'm just gonna say it. You know what I mean? So, in what the NYPD later called a domestic dispute, Majors allegedly forcibly took the woman's hand, causing swelling, bruising, and substantial pain to her finger, and supposedly put his hand on her neck. Okay, so there's the hand on her neck stuff. All right, so that's still a part of it, but they said there was bruising, and we've seen the pictures, and to me the pictures didn't show like there was bruising on the neck. So we'll see what happens there. Now, in the superseding information submitted today, the neck reference was gone. So that kind of makes a little bit of sense now. We seen the pictures, we didn't see no bruises on the neck,
Right.
and now all of a sudden the neck reference is gone. I'm sorry, but when I say, and I put it in the post, I'm gonna get to the
If
poll
the
that I put
bruises
up
was
there.
that bad, they don't disappear that quick.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
then to
bruises
take
they eventually go away, but
right.
like if he suffered some serious ones that you had to go to the hospital for, I mean, unless you covering up with makeup, that's also a thing too. Women cover that stuff up with makeup, but I mean, and her going out the bar, that her going to the bar already seems suspect as is. After the situation, just that it all is suspect.
Absolutely. But to me, it's like you're saying one thing, and then all of a sudden, when the court comes in and you're putting, in the complaint, and you're saying there's bruises around her neck, now all of a sudden that reference is gone. It's weird. It seems like I put on the title witch hunt. Yes, it seems like it's becoming a witch hunt at this point, right? Because now the information is changing, and it seems like it's changing to try and make the DAs look better for them to get a better case. And if you have to do all of that, it's because you don't have a fucking case. It's plain and simple, right? But we know, and I don't want to say it, but we know how the justice system, how they do us black people, us black men, when it comes to these trials and stuff. What's up, nerd man?
Yeah, it's bias. That's like I understand a lot of people have biases, and I have biases. Nerman has biases. We all have biases, and we do have our double standard moments. But in no way should our legal system, any legal system, have bias within it, because
Agreed.
you are now dealing with people's lives in a very serious way. You're determining if they should be put on a probation, they should go to jail, or once they get on probation, after every month do a drug test monthly and all that. Like, and then most people get convicted, especially in America, they lose their right to vote, they lose their right to own a gun, all that stuff. Like, you are deciding you are making these upcoming decisions for these people that's totally out of their hands, and there's too much bias within it, right?
Absolutely.
Which it's messed up, because that's the business in it. Regardless, even the people who defend the people that might be guilty, they're just doing it for the money. But regardless, there it should be a lot more fair in general for any criminal justice system.
100%. Nerdman says this sucks for him, but I think if he plays it right and he's clearly innocent, then he can quit. He can quit a Hollywood. Oh, he can get I guess, a Hollywood comeback after. But this is going to take some time. I agree, Nerdman. I put the link in the K-Dot chat if you want to pop in. You know what I mean? And why didn't she take pictures of the injury? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If that neck bruise was so important, like they made it seem out when before this trial, then you would have pictures of that 100%. 100%. You would have took pictures of those bruises on her neck. That's just common practice, right? Because like K-Dot said, we all know the injuries are going to go away sooner or later, but if you have the pictures, that's evidence for life, you know? So
Right,
but
because
yeah, so
if she don't got pictures from the day of when the bruises was there and she's at the hospital, I mean, what can they really work with? Because if the bruises are gone now, I mean, what is there to really work with? And does it add up with the video that they have? Because they could have gotten to a physical altercation, but whatever injury she gained in certain places may not add up to what the video is. Like I said, Jonathan could have probably pushed her. She hit the and she probably hit the door, right? It'd probably be more than likely you see a bruise on her back. Not gonna see it on her neck, depending on how she hit it. But if he strangled her and he strangled her hard enough, you will see those bruises in her neck. I mean, you might even see his fingers printed on there if he did do it that way. But if those bruises don't add up to what happened in the video, I mean,
and he's a big boy, you know what I mean? So if he puts his hands around her neck, yeah, that's gonna bruise 100%. You know what I mean? Because you ain't gonna put your hand around her neck just to be like, hey, if he's strangling her, he's trying to choke her. That's what they were implying, that he was pretty much choking her. You know what I mean? If that's the case, she's gonna have bruises 100%. Not to mention, we still have the video of her going out and partying of the night that it happened, right? I'm not sure if they
and still, it was Jonathan who called the police, right?
Yes.
That's the thing, because all right, let's say that this, it's happened. It was because I'm kind of shocked the taxi driver never called the police. That's one that was kind of weird. Like, why didn't the taxi driver? Because usually, he would be the one to do that in the situation, call the police if there's a situation happening. But he called the police. Now he could be calling the police. Like I said, some people call the police and make up stuff, but most men in general ain't gonna call the police on a woman. Like some of them are way too prideful to even do that. Even if that woman was definitely trying to do something like stab him with a knife or whatever, they're gonna, because when it comes to domestic abuse happening towards men, we don't like to tackle it the way women tackle it. Like, they're gonna take you to jail, all that, because some of us might be worried of the embarrassment, because there's gonna be some people that say, "Oh man, you let your woman dog you out like that?" Couldn't be.
Yeah.
It's that type of stuff. But most men don't really call the police on a woman like that for this type of stuff. They're gonna try and deal with it, or just just keep dealing with whatever abuse they're dealing with.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right, because not only do most men not call the cops because, but it's like, even if they're innocent, they're usually going to get, they take the woman's side 9 times out of 10, even if the man's innocent.
And
you know what I
depending
mean?
on the state, like New York, the men might get arrested on the spot.
Yeah.
And taken for questioning.
Absolutely. 100%. So to continue with it, it says, okay, so the reference was gone, but the DA's paperwork now also said, I further observed the defendant grabbed my right arm, placed it behind my body, and used his hands to twist my right forearm and right middle finger, causing substantial pain to my right forearm and my right middle finger. So it's funny, like I said, how, his team puts out some evidence and then the DA counteracts or changes their story of what happened. So it's like, if you are someone who was abused, you ain't forgetting that day. You ain't forgetting the details of what happened. You're
Yeah.
gonna remember. If he choked you, you're gonna remember. If he twisted your arm, then you're gonna remember that. You're not gonna come a month later and be like, oh yeah, well, he twisted my arm, right? No, that's gonna be from the start. So contradicting statements from her, just even for me, enforces it more that he is innocent. I'm not going to say he is because I don't know all the details, but just looking at it through my lens, I think he's innocent. But we'll see what
And
happens.
also, I remember it was reported that they both did come from a bar too.
Okay.
So mind you, they both could have been under the influence during the situation enough to, even though that doesn't excuse nothing, but it is a factor to how some of this stuff happens the way it is.
Absolutely. 100%.
So
So
they
you,
both could have been, kind of tipsy, and when this situation did happen, which they also need to factor in too. Like they both was being a little bit tipsy, but even depending how she jumps on him in the video, if she tries to like take his phone from him, his property stuff, not saying he should retaliate like Ike Turner, but that's also a kind of assault in a way. Theft, you can look at it from that perspective. So if they want to add in like she tried to take his phone and all that, and she got up in his face, tried to assault him while doing so, they can use that in their favor too. But like I say, Jonathan's side seemed confident in what they got. I haven't seen their side really backtrack on nothing yet.
Absolutely. But it seems like her evidence just keeps getting backtracked, right?
Yeah.
So says citing text messages and security camera footage from the end of March, Major's lawyer, Chadaldry, whatever her name is, has repeatedly reiterated her client's initial not guilty plea and insisted that he is the victim here, not the aggressor. It has been confirmed by law enforcement that it was Majors who called 911 the night of the incident. So we spoke about that earlier, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you were the one that choked out your woman and pretty much abused her, your ass ain't calling the police. I ain't gonna be the one to call. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
because that's the thing. Like, ain't nobody that abuses somebody is going to snitch on themselves. They're going to either wait it out until they get caught, or they never get caught and they finally bite the dust. Right, but they're not going to snitch unless they are guilty. Unless they are guilty, that's the only time you see them snitching on themselves. They get caught or they guilty. They feel guilty.
100%.
I mean, it's good. Maybe Jonathan might feel guilty, and he was like, I'm ready to face I'm ready to face the consequences. Blah blah. Blah. But nah, it's if you are doing this type of stuff or being abusive, you're not snitching on yourself.
100%. And listen, you may be right. Like, let's just say he did do it, or whatever, he feeling guilty. I'm still thinking about the movies I got coming, and I may feel guilty for what I did, but I ain't fucking up my money.
I ain't gonna drop all that stuff.
You know what I mean?
If I feel guilty, I'm gonna just write it out and see what happens. Hey, if they get enough evidence together that says I'm guilty, you got me.
100. 100. I ain't messing up my
me
for shit. You
know
what I mean?
With our game. I just wanted to make sure I finish up these roles, get as much money as possible. But you got me. Go ahead, lock me up.
Absolutely. So last paragraph says last month, Major's team agreed to a full temporary order of protection being granted for the woman in question from the March 25th incident. Now, before I continue, let's just say, because Chill brought it up too, and he made a great point, that it doesn't necessarily mean that she did that, right? The courts are going to grant the woman an order of protection just for the simple fact that, you know, there's a domestic violence case or whatever, and they don't want him in any way influencing what she has to say or what she's going to do. So they're 100% going to put in that order of protection. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's guilty, but they're going to do that to protect their witness, you know? And Kavari said, good on Disney for not overreacting, but I think Disney should move up Loki season 2 because Jonathan Majors is all over that season, then recast. Well, from what I know is they pushed back Loki season 2, right?
I mean, I've really heard no updates on Loki season 2, but it's been filming for a while, so it's kind of pretty much. I mean, it's one of the only few things they got good to go. Daredevil got pushed back, Blade got pushed back because writer strike, but Loki was already pretty much in the process of being filmed and stuff, so they can release that. I don't think it's gonna release this year though.
Yeah, I don't think so
Because
either.
we have the Secret Invasion,
Secret Invasion.
and the Marvels coming out, which would be fine for the for to end the year with.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So this is the standard in cases such as this, which we consent because Mr. Majors wants nothing to do with the woman who assaulted him. His lawyer told Dateline on April 27th that today, the lawyer has previously criticized the NYPD officer on the scene that night at Major's apartment. Major's lawyer claims that the cops were coaching the alleged victim to accuse Mr. Majors of assault and phantoming what she should say. Now, whether that comes up in the motion the defense filed today to be discussed at next month's hearing remains to be seen. So that's basically it for what we have right now. It just all seems to me like they're just postponing this for whatever reason. Because to be honest with you, the public opinion, the longer it goes, it's probably going to make him look more guilty. You know what I'm saying? Right? People are going to be like, oh, he did it, this and that. So I don't know, man. I just want them to get it over with. I was hoping it would get done today, but unfortunately, we're going to have to wait till next month again to figure out what's going on. And they still actually, it's not even set for trial yet. This is going to be like another preliminary hearing, right? It's not a trial again. So they're going to go back to the drawing board and do what they did today all over again. It just seems, like I said earlier, it just seems like it's a serious witch hunt to me. Really and truly, it seems like a witch hunt. So, what are your thoughts?
I mean, at this point, I don't disagree with the whole witch hunt aspect. Like I said, random people came out the cuts talking about he did this, and that, which happens a lot. Sometimes people don't have the inspiration or the courage to do something, but when they see others do it, they start to do it. But I don't know. All this just seems suspect. And you had those two directors come out trying to say Jonathan supposedly did this, and that on their set when it's like, okay, you sat on this information for so long. Why are you saying anything now? Because, Jonathan been moving up since that movie did The Last Black Man in San Francisco. From there, he been elevating. It's like, okay, you could have totally, if you wanted to, come out with those allegations during Lovecraft Country and try to take him down. They didn't. So now you want to jump on the bandwagon of this woman in her situation, adding some fuel to the fire that you could have been talked about and said something about if he's supposedly been abusive, right?
Absolutely.
I like I say, I don't think there's any strong evidence. I wish they would have just threw out this case because this woman is being wishy-washy with what she is saying. Wishy-washy people, you can't really take their word for anything because they constantly change up what they're going to say. It's
I agree.
nothing for any of us to work with.
I agree 100%. Could Disney also be watching the results of the Ezra Miller situation and the Flash movie?
No,
Um, I don't think that would have anything to do with it, to be honest with you, right?
it's a
Totally different
it's a yeah.
situation.
The Flash is
Flash,
already filmed and coming
yeah,
out.
right.
Quantumania is over, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so they have
Mm-hmm.
time to actually make changes. Even DC, they can recast Ezra actors if they want because they're technically rebooting at the Flash. So both both companies have an exit from these actors if they want to. You know,
Absolutely.
it's not like we're at. It's not like this situation is happening right before the release of Secret Wars, even though that would already be filmed, or King Dynasty. They're pretty much safe. Like, and this isn't even happening between King Dynasty and Secret Wars. This whole situation is happening before those movies come out, so they're safe.
I
To
agree.
they're safe right now. They're lucky this didn't happen then. I wish this wasn't happening, but they are lucky this did not happen between King Dynasty and Secret Wars. They are lucky.
Uh, Absolutely, 100%. So now there are reports. Let me just bring this up here. Show Twitter real quick. Because there's reports now, and I think we've had these reports from the start where it was like, oh, there are rumors that Marvel is actually planning on recasting Kang, right?
Yep.
So here you have Marvel reported preparing for a potential recast of Jonathan Majors. Now, that could be a possibility, but again, until I hear it from Marvel, I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt. But I know this isn't the one I had, but I know a lot of these comments that I seen in some of the auctions were like, yeah, recast him. He choked her. He did this, he did that. A lot of people on Twitter are actually saying that this man is guilty before he even went to trial.
Right. And nobody has no evidence. I mean, I'm not trying to say he's innocent or guilty. It's just I don't. We barely got anything to work with to really come to a conclusion on what the
Mm-hmm.
situation is. Like I said, we made this point earlier. The people who think he's guilty now is going to think he's guilty after. The people who think he's innocent now
Absolutely.
is going to think he's innocent after. But people who think he's guilty now are still going to always think he's guilty. He's guilty
Absolutely.
in their eyes,
100%.
regardless of anything. It doesn't matter what it might be.
Absolutely, 100%. They're all going to think he's guilty. And we've seen it all the time, right? Because even people still nowadays still think, Johnny Depp is guilty or he had something to do with it. Now, we know, like you said, he's not 100% innocent, but at the same time, it's Amber Heard who pretty much started everything. Like she was the one who hit him first and all kinds of stuff like that, which was
Right.
admitted. So whatever happens, that public opinion is still going to be the same for some people, you know. And Perp said a lot of content creators are definitely banking on him being guilty. That will only benefit their channels. Oh
Especially,
yeah.
especially out of Marvel channels. Oh, Kang recast. Who should we recast as Kang?
Uh-huh.
They
Well,
got
that's what the
they
yeah. Go
got those
ahead.
ready to go. They got them videos ready to go.
That's what they're talking about already. And Aubrey James sent a $2 super chat. Thank you very much. He said, "What guy if MCU dropped him? He welcome to DC."
If,
Well,
if they'll, even though James Gunn's situation is different, it was his was tweets of jokes about pedophilia. Not saying that stuff was funny.
mhm,
I can joke about that stuff, but it's just his jokes was not funny. But still,
right,
they still hired James. I mean, they hired Ezra Miller. They still kept him on. Even Amber Heard, they still kept him on. That was a different management at the time. It's not the management that was under David Zaslav, but I wouldn't be shocked if they wanted to take Jonathan Majors to come join them.
absolutely. And you see, look here, this one. It's time, people. Like, what is it time for? And then you see here, petition. Boyega should replace Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror. Absolutely.
I don't even want to see John Boyega come back to Disney personally.
Absolutely not. Yeah, I disagree with that. Absolutely not. I don't think he would. Nah, I wouldn't want to see John Boyega do that.
Because
That's not.
Disney don't really got no respect for him like that. So I think he just stay away from that company. Because how they treated him with his the
Star Wars
Star Wars
stuff.
promotion, the
Mm-hmm.
poster, he's just steer clear of them in general.
100%. Ezra Miller did some awful shit. As soon as Michael Keaton Batman shows up, everyone seems to forget. Yeah,
That trailer was
100%.
powerful. I forgot he was a criminal too.
Well, I didn't, but at the same time, you know, that movie was already done, right? So the
Yeah.
only thing DC could really do is put it out and hope people forget. You know, Batman is featured a lot in those trailers. And why is that? To take away from the Ezra Miller stuff, right? Because there's going to be people out there who are still going to be like, you know what, I'm not going to see this because of Ezra Miller and stuff like that. So you put a lot of Batman in there, and people are like, oh, okay, Batman's in it. So
You even not sure if you've seen it. Did you see the tweet about the production designer with Jay? About the production designer from Flash saying that after the movie comes out, people will forget what happened with Ezra Miller.
yeah, for
And
sure.
as someone working
100%.
on the movie that thinks is, that's why I think a lot of people working on the Flash, David Zaslav, all them was like, man, if this movie make $1 billion, all the motherfuckers gonna forget. They ain't finna remember
Absolutely.
nothing.
Absolutely. And it's just for
What they're
me.
hoping for.
You see, now here's someone with a brain. He said, why? For an unfounded allegation that seems to be lies? Absolutely 100%. Right. But there's so many people out there who just want to see this man go down. No, for if he's proven to be guilty in the court of law. Yes, 100%. If he's proven guilty, then you do what you got to do to get rid of him or whatever. But at this point, I don't see guilt. I really
Right.
don't. I'm more or less on Chillmonger side to where I'm like, no, he's innocent, and this is all bullshit. I really believe it's all bullshit. I believe that for whatever reason that they are trying to take this guy down. Now it could be the
Innocent
cop.
until proven guilty.
Facts, 100%. It could be the cop. It could be the girl. It could be Hollywood, right? It could be Hollywood. I've said it many times that there's a possibility that maybe they tried to give him a role that he didn't want to do, like maybe wear a dress or something like that. And they said, well, you know what? Seeing as that you're probably about to be one of the biggest actors in Hollywood, we're going to take you down a peg. It could
Right,
be,
because people
yeah, go
people
ahead.
forget. It's not saying it's Illuminati stuff, but Hollywood has a social circle. They have their own circle, just like how police officers they got their own circle. Do anything for their circle. But if you are a police officer or celebrity that does not do what the circle's doing, you will be casted out. We've seen it happen with Brendan Fraser when he came out and called out the person who sexually assaulted him. He lost roles for years. Now he's making his comeback because Hollywood is now a different landscape. But regardless, if you are not doing what the circle is doing, they will cast you out. That could be a case with
Absolutely.
Jonathan. He probably didn't want to. He probably wasn't really rocking with Hollywood like that in the way that you're supposed to rock with Hollywood. And they're like, "Oh, let's start to get rid of him."
Absolutely.
That is the case. We've seen it with police officers that tried to come out and be honest about their district doing some messed up stuff, and
Absolutely.
they either end up somehow getting fired or they're getting threats, and they stop being so vocal about the situations going on with their little department.
Absolutely. 100%. Fado said, in Hollywood, black men can't walk away without some sort of scandal. 100%. And I have a video, if you maybe seen it, it's Eddie Griffin, the comedian. He talks about that, and he tells you about all these black Hollywood stars that really don't leave Hollywood without a scandal. Now, you may have a few, like Denzel Washington. I don't think he has anything going on with any kind of scandal or anything like that, right? I believe Sidney Poitier didn't have anything, but the majority, yeah, I think 100% they come out there with with some sort of scandal.
I mean,
Scandal.
if you look at most black celebs in general, they always hit a height, and it's usually something that happens that totally tries to defame them near the end of their career. You know, this is a different example, but when Kobe passed away, right? And Gail King tried to bring up the whole rape thing again, even though that's
Yeah.
like, and what year was that again when he got accused of that? It was like a long time ago. It was not anywhere near when he died, but her just bringing that up again, like that's not even relevant right now. Those are still allegations that wasn't even proven to be true. So why are you bringing that up?
2003.
2003, and this was, and she intentionally brought that up to try and stir something.
Yeah,
stir something like
right.
That's not even relevant to now. Now, if he did it, okay, I guess, but there was no evidence to say this was true or not. And then she tried to bring that up to try and start something.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I say. Even if Jonathan Majors, we find out he's innocent, 5 years from now, he's going to do an interview and some fucking Gail King wannabe is going to be like, hey, so, you know, you were charged or allegedly charged for, and even though they'll probably put it in a way to say like you got off, they're still going to bring it up. You know, instead of just not even talking about it, they're still going to find some way to bring it up to keep the audience and keep people remembering what happened. Fatal JC. Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, it even happened with Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They, even after his death, you know, they tried to twist those situation with the pills and stuff. Tried to say like, you know, he was like, he yes, there was an addiction because his doctor was literally subscribing him more than he needed, right?
Right.
But they tried to twist it as like, oh, Michael's a junkie, he's a drug addict, without bringing up the full picture. Like the doctor was literally subscribing him pills more than the average person. It's like, of course, makes sense why he passed away. You was giving him too much pills, and you know he started taking these, abusing them for whatever pain he was feeling, and of course he got a freaking addiction because you created the addiction.
100%. And Fado said he took those Bati Boy pics for the Ebony for Creed promo. Yeah, well, I talked about that too. You know what I mean, Fado? I talked about that because
he was looking fly, you know. He was looking fly, you know.
I ain't gonna say all of that, okay? I ain't gonna say all of that. But it's like, you know, we talk about it, the emasculation or demasculation of Black men in the media, right? And when you watch his red carpet, where he's at the Oscars, where he's doing other things, you don't see him wearing the shit that he wore in the fucking photo shoot, right? So it's obviously that he did that for the photo shoot. And we did a part on the OOC where there was an actor, I can't remember who it was, or it was either a rapper or an actor, where they came out and said the first way they try to get you is with the wardrobe. And if they come to you and say, here, we want you to wear this, and you wear it, they go back and say, yeah, he's ready. And that's exactly what it is. Because if you don't wear that shit in your normal life, me personally, if I don't wear that shit in my normal life, I'm not going to fucking do a photo shoot with some pink bullshit on and looking like a fucking female when I don't wear that shit in my real life. You know, I'm not going to pander to anybody just so that I can make money. And that's exactly what that photo shoot was. And it done nothing because now look what he's going through. Rappers get it worse. 100% they do. Yeah, just look at K-Dot's boy, Ray Fisher. Yeah, Ray Fisher is a different story, you know what I mean? Which I know these guys like to get into. But at the same time,
Ray Fisher self-sabotaged himself.
He killed his own career, that's for sure. I agree. He is innocent, but his name is already tainted for life. 100% fatal. We talked about that earlier, to where regardless of whether he gets off or not, there's going to be people out there that are going to say this man is guilty no matter what. Did you guys know Michael Jackson was going to buy Marvel after he bought the Beatles? They don't like powerful Black men. You see, I didn't even know that, but if that's the case,
He did try to attempt that. He even wanted to do a Spider-Man movie. He wanted to play Spider-Man.
I heard the
that.
Spider-Man movie, where he wanted to play Spider-Man. But I mean, they didn't like the fact that he brought the Beatles catalog anyways. So do you think they would have liked the fact that Michael Jackson, a black man, owned Marvel as well? Nah, sir, that don't work. And again, I say it all the time: Michael Jackson's death, Prince's death, they're suspect to me. Those deaths are really suspect.
Like I said, the doctor giving him the amount of pills he was giving him already points to like, why was you doing that? Unless Michael was like requesting it under the even under like just requesting it personally, like, okay, just give me a little bit more, I'll pay you a little bit extra, don't tell nobody about this. But even then, as a doctor, they're still not supposed to do that regardless. So unless Michael paid him a little bit extra to do so, or he was just doing it to do it and maybe was hired by somebody to give Michael a little bit more than usual to ensure that he gets to the addiction and drops dead.
Because his tour that he was doing, This Is It tour, like if you ever watched the video on the making of that, that was going to be one of the biggest tours, concerts in the history of anything that was done. Like the things that he had planned to do for that concert would have brought him back. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, no, we can't do that. So yeah, it's suspect to me. Really is. The doctor did get off, of course. So he is innocent in the court of law, but to me, it's still suspect, right? Mr. YouTube 92 said, I'm late to the stream, but what I know is, according to ABC News, the case hasn't even gone before the grand jury, which means he hasn't been indicted yet. That is correct. So basically, what it is the trial that we had today, or whatever, the pre-hearing that we had today, just got extended till next month. So they're going to have to submit all the evidence over again. And I think what I said, because it didn't say it in the article, but when I first read the article, it was basically that the DA has to now counteract the information that was said by Jonathan Majors, So hold on. Okay, there we go. Back. So yeah, so there's that. 2025. What was 2025?
Now you're saying
okay.
2005.
2005, yeah. Interesting. Like Bill Clinton, the fine blue dress, said Michael Jackson's day the FBI investigated him was for like 15 years. Yeah, absolutely. And they never found anything. Yeah, they never found anything, right? But yet people still want to say that he is guilty and a child molester.
Right.
He was going to make all his money back from this Is It tour. You right, 100%. If you own the Beatles, you not broke. Oh, 100%. Wasn't Major's lawyer going to drop footage from the cab? I don't think that information ever came out that they were going to drop the footage from the cab stuff, but I think they're going to save that for the next trial. I think all that information will come out. Maybe it did, and we don't know yet, right? But from the article that I read, they never said anything about the cab video yet. And I think that's going to,
the cab video, save that for court. Don't even let the public get that yet, because like save it for court, deal with it then, and then if they want to, release it after.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with you. I think save it for court. You know what I mean? Because I think that's the smoking gun. That's the video that's either going to find him guilty or find him innocent. So that's the one piece of evidence that you want to save until the court day. The elites already ruined his name, which is equal to being guilty. You guys think he messed up being with a snow bunny? Be honest.
I mean, there is a precedent with some white women trying to slander, take down black men specifically. But I think in general, this is women's best way of tackling and fighting back. Most women are not going to fight us physically. So they're gonna get us where it hurt. They're gonna find a way to probably get us locked up, get your assets and all your resources taken away from you, take away the things that you as a man was it like try to get you take your job away, take your house away, put you on child support, and keep pulling from your check every couple months, whatever, whenever they get the payments. Like that's their way of combating us, and they are going to do this. Not saying nobody shouldn't use the legal system to help them out, but this is women's way of dealing with men, right? Not saying it's the wrong way of doing it, but this is what they're going to do. They're going to attack us where it hurts, and this is how you could really take down a dude, right? Because if most of us men, if we're going to get into an altercation with another man, we're going to probably fight it out physically and go about it. But some women will hold them grudges, and they will do this type of stuff.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to answer your question, Fiddle, because I talked about this before. I'm not ashamed to say it. Listen, if you are in an interracial relationship and you starting out your career and you guys are from start to finish, boom, 100% no issue with that. But when you become a powerful black man in Hollywood, you got to stay away because they could be plants, right? I have this, and I have to find it, this Judge Joe Brown video where he talks about the plants, right? Where they get someone, they pay him. And he said they only paid this girl $2,000 to try and dance with him and then end up saying that he touched her inappropriately, right? I believe that they use it to get you. But I also believe that they find out your weakness, right? So for me, it would be weed. You know what I mean? Right. So if I was in Hollywood and they wanted to get me, they could just try it, you know what I mean? Bring up some chronic, you know what I mean? Yeah, bring up some chronic or something like, oh, Mr. Nzo Hodges got arrested today for having a pound of weed in his bag or in his car or something like that, right? So I think at the end of the day, we as, well, black men, I won't say we because I ain't a celebrity, but black celebrities, they have to be very careful with how they tread in Hollywood because Hollywood don't care about them. You know what I mean? It's all about what can you do for me now? And the minute you can't do anything for them, or the minute you try to step your boundaries, then they get you. Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson. Yeah, go ahead.
That's why, and like I say, it depends. But I think once you get to a certain class system, right? Not saying this should depict how you should seek out love. But if you are going to be a celebrity, right, and you start to make a bunch of money, I think you should date within your class because those people understand things. It's a different lifestyle. And if you're in the middle class, date someone in your class because they are going to understand more than someone who's rich how you live. I'm not saying rich people can't date someone from middle class. If you're gonna date someone from middle class, I would say, hey, try to date that, try to hook up with that girl that you knew from back in the day, or that girl that goes to your mom's church. Hook up with one of them. Like, play it safe. Don't just get with anybody all willy nilly. Or you know what? Better yet, don't even get married. Don't just just chill. You can, if you want to see how to do it safely. Make sure they sign some NDAs or whatever, and you're good. Personally, if it was me and I was single in this, single working as a celebrity, I'd say single. Freaking, I ain't finna be dating all that.
I'm saying, yeah, you say that, but when you got you know what I mean, them fine.
I'll definitely sleep around, right? But
I
would much rather stay single, just invite a girl over, sleep with her and all right, get out of my house, go. I ain't trying to, get all close with you, dip, go.
100%. We'll get through the last few comments because I know K-Dot got to bounce soon. But clearly there has been go ahead.
Because I did say it. I wouldn't be shocked because I heard rumors that Drake does this.
The hot sauce.
No, well, not the house. That too.
Oh.
It makes sure you have the hot sauce. But I think he has most women. Because he flies out a bunch of women. Like it'll be a
Mhm.
random girl he saw on Instagram. He hit her up, say come fly
Mhm.
out, right?
Mhm.
But I heard that he has them sign like NDAs and stuff
Oh,
to
absolutely,
protect him because
absolutely.
so
Half of those celebrity parties, like Snoop Dogg, when he has those big parties, anybody that's there, you have to sign an NDA or else you ain't getting in.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
So
Kavari said, "Yeah, go ahead, finish
NDA,
up."
get them NDAs going for yourselves if you're a celebrity. It protects you. Not saying it should protect the people that are doing like R. Kelly. I imagine R. Kelly probably was doing NDAs and stuff to do what he needed to do. Not
Hmm.
saying have NDAs to protect that type of stuff, but generally, if you do want to protect yourself and be able to have the fun you want to have, get an NDA.
Absolutely. And yeah, there was NDAs because there was I think it's Surviving R. Kelly 3. One woman said she went to the house and before she even got in, she did have to sign an NDA.
Yep.
Kavari said, clearly there's been an agenda to destroy powerful black men. I agree with you 100%. As someone who has been a part of 2 grand juries, the grand jury determines whether or not the case actually goes to trial. If the evidence is in his favor, then the case will be thrown out. Well, that's exactly what we're hoping for, is that the case get thrown out, that there's enough evidence on Jonathan Major's side that he does get thrown out. But again, like me and Kate out are here and we're champion for Jonathan Majors, but let's be 100% real here. If he's guilty, if he did it, then yes, he should get prosecuted to the full extent of the law. That is 100% agreeable. We agree with that. It's just right now, with the way things look, he looks innocent to me. Fatal J said facts. It's known, it's known out there. There are plans for NFL and NBA players, 100%. Clearly, there's an agenda to destroy power for black men besides R. Kelly and OJ. Them motherfuckers did that shit. Yeah, 100%. And they're guilty and they should go to jail. Now, we can get onto, do we think R. Kelly should have got 50 years because he's 50 years in jail? I'm like, no, because you have Derek Chauvin, who murdered a black man on video and only got 22. So, you know what I mean? Yes, he should be in jail 100%. I'm not sure if he should have actually got 50 years, though. But I think the 50 years also adds on to like every single complaint, right? He got charged for every single complaint, which probably has
Yeah,
a
because
maximum of, say, like 5 years or whatever. So, yeah.
yeah, they go by those. Depending on how many counts he had, pretty much adds on whatever years. Then you sometimes you get them judges that just add on them spontaneous years, like oh you get 999 years in prison or whatever. He was saying some wild rambunctious numbers. Like basically you get in life, you gonna die in that cell.
Yeah,
So they just be
absolutely.
saying anything.
Mike, what's up, Mike? Thanks for popping. He said Marvel changed their mind. They haven't done anything about majors yet. But that ME Wisconsinite dude on that Twitter stream you're showing says they want to recast. Yeah, I know. And that's what I'm saying. Like we talked about that earlier, where it's like Marvel hasn't come out and said anything before. And we were even on Chillmonger stream where there were a few people on there that are saying, well, Marvel kind of, you know, fired him behind the scenes, which I don't agree with. It could be a possibility, but until it comes out, I'm not believing that. You know what I mean? I'm not going to buy that until Marvel actually comes out and says that, hey, you know, we are recasting Kang and they have an actor for it. Do I think Marvel has a contingency plan just in case? Yes, they do, 100%. But I think they're also waiting to find out, you know?
I wonder what actor they got for their contingency plan. Because let's say King, this Jonathan's clean, they gonna tell that actor, yeah, so we don't really need you.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You want to, we got a CGI character for you to play. You want to play that?
Oh, absolutely.
They've got a CGI character ready for that black actor. Whatever they got on the back burner.
I'm pretty sure it's like when you have the interview, right? Because if they have a contingency plan, they're probably interviewing a few people now, and it's like, you know what? we have you. We may have you doing Kang, but if that doesn't work out, we'll find something else for you. Don't worry. But I'm sure that they let the person know right away that listen, you know, he may be found innocent, and if he's found innocent, we're gonna move forward with Jonathan Majors because he's a great freaking talent, man. Like he's really good. So to even lose him just like that is kind of like, eh. So Kang is Majors, but online they say in Marvel, my recast High Evolutionary as the Kang variant. They might. Yeah, I don't want them to do that. We talked about that earlier, Fatal. I don't want them to do that. I prefer them just get another actor
and
to
just get
play
another
Kang.
actor.
Yeah, yeah, and
Because
leave it
I
as
don't need
that.
them. It's the same thing I didn't like about MODOK and um. Well, I don't like this when they do this in general. It happened with DC. They did it with Doomsday, where they make Zod and Doomsday same character. They made Darren Cross, who is Yellow Jacket, MODOK, and it's like they're two separate characters. Why do you even need to put them? I get this is the MCU, but you can still change that character, but keep the original character that is that character. And you don't need to take two characters and mix them together to end up
Absolutely,
one. So
I
yeah, keep
agree.
them separate. Just recast another actor. High Evolutionary could stay as is. He might not be dead. That's the thing. We don't know if he's dead or not.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't
Mm-hmm.
see him die
Yeah,
technically, so he could keep probably put his conscience in a machine. Who knows?
absolutely. And Tony said Dana White actually went Creed on his girl, but didn't face the backlash that Jonathan Majors is facing. 100%. I know that video came out. There was a few, talk about it, and then it just disappeared, and it's all business for him again. We've said it many times that there is a double standard when it comes to white people and black people in Hollywood. That is a known fact. It's just there's just this double standard to where we are always the villains. You know what I mean? We are always the ones that are in the wrong. And even when you have a white man out there who's on video doing something wrong, they still trying to find a way to flip it and make it like, oh, well, she did something first or something like that. It's just ridiculous, man. On Twitter, same dudes defending Johnny Depp are calling Majors guilty. Yeah, that's a problem. You know what I mean? That's a big problem. But at the end of the day, we got to wait another month until we find out what's going on. Hopefully, it'll get taken care of before that. We don't know because, again, the article, this one doesn't say the same thing that I read earlier, but supposedly the district attorney has until I think it was the 25th of this month to counteract what happened today. And then on the 30th, they have Jonathan Majors camp has to counteract what the DA counteracts. And then if everything goes, I guess, according to the DA, then June 13th, they'll have the trial. So we'll see what happens to that, And the last comment is, you guys hear black people about to get reparations in Cali and in New York.
And that ain't that's not going to happen the way we think it's going to happen. I'll take some free money. I ain't tripping, but we have to factor
Hey,
in
I,
the
I tell you, I tell you this, I'm Canadian, but if that shit happens, I'm moving to New York or Cali, and I'm K-Dot's brother. You know what I mean? Give me my reparations, bro.
and see this. I was talking about this the other night at work with my supervisor. We was talking about it, and the process. So how they going to do it? They want to do it by your residency, right?
Uh-huh.
So, and I was asking him like, okay, so do they mean resident by you stay in the state or you own property in the state, like you live there? Because
Mm-hmm.
those can vary. Like I said, they're
Right.
gonna make this as hard as possible to go through the
Yeah.
process of getting it. They was also talking about trying to validate your ancestry to see if you was
Mm-hmm.
actually a slave, like
Mm-hmm.
your ancestors was slaves when
Mm-hmm.
they came over here, which most black people in America, they are descended from slaves in
Right.
general. But
Yeah.
they want to but a lot of people don't have that proof that they was descendants of this specific slave and all that. Now, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully people get lucky that some of their family members, got the little family tree that details their lineage. But they don't. I mean, what they got to depend on ancestry.com.
Like Fatal says, 350K per person. Yeah, all of my American friends over here that get represent. Oh my God, the word. Anyways, all you, yeah, that's it. All you guys that get it, Fatal J, you get it. K dot get it. Give your Canadian brother over here 10%, and we good to go.
I mean, hey, 350K. I won't. That's a fully paid off car and house.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll take 10% from you
But
guys. I ain't got no
that's
problem
the
with that.
thing. That's the thing. Two people was talking about a bunch of people. What if they go buy property with that? Because I think there's like they have to factor in the taxes, all that. If everybody just went out and bought property,
Absolutely. Fair Sanake that they're gonna go by if you checked that African American box on your birth certificate and job applications. Hey, then I'm moving to the States and I'm checking that box for sure. You know what I mean? My birth certificate says I'm black, and in my job applications, you damn right I'm clicking that African American spot right then and there.
if it
Hopefully
does
Jersey
happen,
next.
I'll take that free money.
Absolutely. And
Certain states like Texas, most Tennessee, they're not going to do something like this. I'm shocked.
Mhm.
I'm actually shocked New York is doing it.
Right. And there's a lot of people out there because I've been following up on it. You know, a lot of YouTube content creators like Amazing Lucas and Duke the Don, they talk about it all the time, right? But there's a lot of people out there, even some blacks, that think that we shouldn't get it. And I'm like, well, you know, from what they're saying is, and I haven't researched it or even looked into it, so don't take it with a grain of salt. I'm just going with what these guys say. But there are a lot of white, like the Jewish, and a lot of people have got reparations, right? There's a lot of white people that got it. So if that's the case, then yeah, I think, you know, slaves, we were promised, you know, 40 acres and a mule, you
It's
know.
well, this is how I look at it, right? Now, I'm not going to be one to like constantly beg for reparations and stuff. If it is coming and it does happen, I would gladly take the money. I ain't gonna trip off that. But I'm just thinking about like as far as reparations go, majority of stuff that is the government has, we're pretty much owed all that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that's the if that happens, I mean, they're not going to do that. America would fall and be in shambles if that. But they owe they owe Native Americans. They owe blacks.
Facts.
They also owe the Chinese when it came to the railroad stuff.
Yeah.
They owe Hispanics, especially from the Spanish American War that happened. Like if they have to give blacks reparations, I want to see reparations for Native Americans, and mind you, we'll bleed them dry because then they are not going to do these reparations as they should. But I'm not expecting them to go for the full because I don't want the whole country to fall apart because it will fall apart if they give us everything we owe. Because you feel majority of this stuff.
Yeah, they said it would be about a couple of $1 trillion to give everybody reparations that deserves it. You know what I mean? Or that's eligible for it. That's a lot of money.
The biggest thing I'm worried about is like how is that going to like the economy too? Because that's a lot of money they're giving out, and to each person or each they're going to do it. They're not going to give out money to the kids too. It's going to probably be a family by family case, but that's a lot of money given out to each black resident in California. That's a lot. 350K each.
But at the same time, that and the reason why like a lot of black people are clamoring to get reparations is because that can help out the black community, right? Because we've been held back for so long. Now you're getting people with money who can invest in their own people, right? Who can invest in schools and hospitals, because as much as I don't really
businesses.
listen to Dr. Umar with a lot of the stuff he says, some of the things he says about, us not owning schools, us not owning hospitals and stuff like that,
Yep.
it's an absolute fact. And it's what's holding Black people back from getting that generational wealth.
That's why we
right?
don't. That's why we don't have powers like the Jews or something. Like, yeah, we can be vocal all we want, but we ain't got no power. We don't got no
Yeah.
power to do some stuff like make Kanye West lose his Adidas deals, get him
Right.
kicked out of Chase Bank. He can no longer bank with them. Like, we can't do none of that. We can be barking all we want about lock him up, lock this person up, do that. But we don't got no power. Jews got
Absolutely.
powers. Even
Absolutely.
some in SF, a lot of Asian people have influence here because it's a big population of Asian people. They got influence here, but they got placed. They are literally in they're politicians here too. So until we get to that point where we got people in place in high places, then we can start to really move stuff. But we don't got that. But yeah, hopefully, Black folk, y'all just do a couple things. Whoever's saying the projects, y'all get this money, move about the projects, or help restore the projects. Like
Facts.
Get them streets fixed. Build some playgrounds for the kids. Plant some plant some gardens and stuff. Rebuild the homes there. Rebuild those apartment complexes. Just keep them roaches from coming in there. Make sure the kids can sleep somewhere safe. And also the community has to do their part of stopping, doing drugs around the kids,
gang violence and all that. Yeah.
Shooting random stray bullets at night that just be flying through people windows and stuff. That stuff that's happened. But just spend wisely. I'm not saying everybody needs to take their money and waste it on somebody else, but help out somebody who's homeless. Just help you treat yourself first, and then treat somebody else after.
Yep.
But that's up to the person who gets the money. It's up to them. I'm not saying they should, but if you want to do this, treat yourself first, and then help somebody out after.
Get some of those Black business going where you're not going into a debonair or a corner store, like you guys call it, and having to buy from an Asian person. You know what I mean? Now you're buying from your own kind. Last two comments is every race got reparations except us, who got murdered in huge scales during slavery and built the country. If they can send billions to help Ukraine, they can give us billions. Absolutely. Some Black folks will blow the money, but others will flip their $350K to generational wealth. 100%. And that's what we have to do.
I would say it's just us and Native, because even the situation for Native Americans, like them getting casinos, not even because majority of natives is stuck living in the reservations and them places. I mean, I wouldn't want to live there. I'm part Native American. I wouldn't want to live in no reservation. I'm sorry. I'd rather live in the projects.
100%.
But I think, this point's not wrong. As far as Blacks, we do not get the reparations that we deserve. Also, would say Native Americans do. It's really just us Blacks and Native Americans that really deserve our reparations in this country. We deserve 100%. It.
100%. And I think Native Americans have it a lot worse than Black people, right? Because at one point they were talking about Native Americans, and even here we call them Inuits, are pretty much extinct. That is crazy to talk about a race of people and say that they are almost extinct. That's crazy.
I mean, I'll be honest. But I have never seen a Native American person like that. Like I'm part Native American, but you can see I'm Black. I do not remember. I cannot think of the last time I've seen a Native American person.
Aside from I'm saying? Exactly.
I probably did, but I cannot remember anyone right now that I've met that's Native American. Like, you can visually see they are Native American. I've 100%. Not seen any in a while.
100%. Here in Montreal, you have to go. It's like a reserve called Ganawage. That's where all the natives live, right? But it's like a little section. And even one year, the government tried to take that shit away from them to put up a golf course. And they put these borders down to where like you get into where their area is, and they had dudes with guns defending their shit because they didn't want to lose it, you know? So 100%. But with that being said, guys, was a great stream. Thank you all for coming in. Much appreciated. We had like 22 people at one time. I appreciate K-Dot for coming in here and, you know, sharing his thoughts with us and all of that. Make sure to check out for more information because I'm going to be following this shit like I've been doing from the beginning. And I waited until this day to actually come out with something. But if anything major comes out, I'll do another stream, but the next one will probably be on the 13th. K-Dot, shout out your channel, brother.
You guys find me at SJ Sanctum. Recently been my monetization has been reinstated. I'm back, trying not to lose it again. Now I just gotta wait it out until these 2 strikes leave. But come check out my channel: anime reviews, movie reviews, gaming. We talk political, social, all that. I've not been as consistent as I wanted to because dealing with some stuff in life right now. Nothing bad, but just life, work, regular stuff, you know, that I gotta focus on. But come check me out, SJ Sanctum. That's the name there. Hit me up.
Absolutely. And K-Dot shared out the stream. So for all of you that are, you know, watching this on K-Dot's channel, I'm Big Afford Entertainment. If you want to sub over here, appreciate it. For those over here that aren't sub to K-Dot, can go over there and sub to the channel as well. But with that being said, make sure to tune in tomorrow night for an episode of the OOC. I'm also going to shout out Fatal J because he's doing his Dark Council show tomorrow night. So make sure you guys check that out as well. But with that being said, peace, love, and hair grease, and we'll see you on the next one, guys. Peace.
Peace.
Alright, real bad man, we people dance. We take dancing to a higher rank. We spend pound and we spend franc. Shut up a new dance and a Jamaica and drunk. Yes, on the river, on the bank. Kick out the shoes because you put them in your camp. Stay in the river, on the bank. Shut up a new dance and a Jamaica and Bronx. Yeah, down the flank, we a go down the flank. Like a baller, we go down the flank. You're cheap, pretty young, get in your tank. But the new dance, you know where people can't pull. Give them a run, give them a run. Give them a run, we and the girls that have done cool. Give them a run, give them a run. Give them a run, we and the girls that have done cool. We know that before, yeah. But I've never seen a dance like this.
Like this. I see no dance. I didn't want to start the list.